What would it be like if you never did anything unless it nourished your soul? Well, this is the philosophy of Linda Griffin, and she was so adamant about it that when she met our techs, they said, oh, we've got to have her on the show. Linda is quick to tell you about being a breast cancer survivor and how this attitude and this philosophy has been the best medicine she ever had. When you subscribe to our show, you help us grow. Someone you know may need to hear this story, so please share with your family and friends and consider supporting our mission at therose.org. Let's talk about your breast. A different kind of podcast presented to you by The Rose, a breast center of excellence and a Texas treasure. You're going to hear frank discussions about tough topics, and you're going to learn why knowing about your breast could save your life. Linda, we are so delighted to have you here. I cannot tell you how many of my employees said, you must have this lady on the podcast. When they met you, they were just astounded by this attitude you have towards life, towards breast cancer, towards your survivorship. So thank you for making this trip. Thank you for being here. We're just happy to be able to talk with you today.
You're welcome, Dorothy. I'm happy to be here today.
So tell me, I've got about a dozen questions here, but the first one is, how in the heck did you get involved with tennis?
Many years ago, when I was in college, my older sister was 2 years older. And so initially I had graduated from a 2-year junior college in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. So I moved after 2 years. I transferred to a 4-year university where my sister was attending college as well. And so she had taken a tennis class as a PE course, and she loved it. So that gave her the tennis bug. And so when I moved in with her to go to college, I would go to the park with her where she was playing. And I was like, okay, this is something I can do. And so that's where I got interested, because I didn't even know, people play tennis. I didn't know anyone that played tennis.
So you weren't an athlete or?
No, well, in high school, I played basketball, and I played basketball, and I played softball, but I wasn't that great at it. I didn't even think I was an athlete at the time, because I was on, like the B team and the C team. So I know, I was even told that, you're not an athlete. Oh. And so it wasn't until I started playing tennis and started actually learning how to play, which is a challenge. And because at the time I was just hitting the balls over the fence, I didn't realize,
for that.
Okay,
right.
you need control with tennis. Uh-huh. So it was during that process that's where I really, got introduced to it and got the love for it. And I just wanted to improve it and just to get better.
So you play in tournaments?
Yes, I do. And before COVID, I played on 2 different league teams on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. So I did play league. And then one time I even played on 3 teams, so that kept me very busy.
Yes.
And it's a lot of traveling. And it's and the weeknight teams are on weekdays, so it was kind of hard because the matches are at 7:00. And a lot of times we'd have to travel. Most of the time we traveled because we live in the suburbs, so we'd have to travel into Houston or one of the suburbs. So after COVID, I'm like, okay, let me take a break from playing the leagues, and occasionally I do play tournaments. I am getting ready to play in a tournament in May down at the park where I play tennis at McGregor Park. Mm-hmm. They have an annual tournament, so I love playing there in that tournament. And we have tennis friends from all over the United States that will come and play in that tournament. So it's just it's fun, it's fellowship, it's friendship. I love to volunteer, so my husband and I volunteer, and of course through me, he volunteers.
Right. He gets volunteered.
Yes, exactly. And so I love to volunteer and just to be a help and be a blessing too. And I want all the people that they spend money and time to travel to come out of town. I just want them to have a good time and enjoy themselves. Oh. And I love working as part of a team, and I know the tournament director and the team that's helping run the tournament, they put so much work into the tournament all year round. So if I can just be a little help, I want to be able to help, and make things better and make the out of town players see that they have a good time. So if I can make a contribution and make a difference towards that goal, then that's what I enjoy doing. So
volunteer, tennis player, and also a breast cancer survivor.
Yes.
So yours was a little different, how you were diagnosed. You want to tell us about that?
Yes. At the time, I was diagnosed in 2007, but about a year before, my company, they have the Rose comes out and they have the mobile van. They come to our company, and I began to. I just had the screening done, and then they saw a film and they told me I need to, go to my doctor to have a mammogram done. And so I did that, and the radiologist told me, well, there's, we see like a little dark area, but there's nothing really to be concerned about. So I wasn't concerned about it. And then about a year later, I just woke up one morning, and it was just like the Holy Spirit told me, feel your left rump, your left breast. And then I felt a knot there that I'd never felt before, and I was 44 years old, and I what could this be? So right away I made an appointment with my personal physician, Dr. Anderson, and she got me in right away. And then she referred me to. She said, we need to get this checked out, and I want you to have a mammogram and an ultrasound. And so she referred me to Dr. Gaskell, who at the time had her own office.
Right.
And so, Dr. Anderson, I just love her because she is so caring, and she's such a wise, godly woman. And she referred me there, and they got me in right away, like the next day. And so I went there, and I just love the setup, Dr. Gaskell. Everything is just like, everything was so feminine. Everything just like
she is amazing.
She takes that extra measure to make you feel comfortable there. And so I went there and then had my mammogram done and ultrasound done, and it was so awesome because she actually brings you in and lets you see the film, and it's like in 3D. These huge. So she showed me where where the lump was, and so after that I had surgery. I received my treatment at MD Anderson in the Bay Area, which was nice and convenient since I live in Friendswood.
Right.
And so I went there for my treatment, and they recommended surgery first, and then I had a lumpectomy. And I really thought I was going to be off of work for like 6 weeks, but after I had my surgery, it was like, oh, this is, thanks to the grace of God, I recovered quickly. Of course, too, I'm never the type to just to sit around and do nothing and wait. I have to stay busy. I love staying busy and doing things and being productive. And so I had my surgery, and then the surgeon actually found, we initially thought it was one lump, but it turned out I had a smaller lump as well. So he was really good. And he was able to go in through one incision and remove both of the lumps out of my breast. So that was a blessing. So I recovered quickly. So after surgery, I had to have radiation and chemotherapy. And so I did that. I think that I did only about 8 weeks of chemotherapy. But I was in stage 1, so that's that's
really early.
That's very early. So that was really a good thing. So I didn't require as many rounds of chemotherapy as some ladies did. And then I went to radiation, which was really easy. And that was only like 15 minutes a day. I went there for 6 weeks. And so I was thankful that I was able to adjust my work schedule, because my work schedule it's a flex schedule. And so I was able to adjust my work schedule around my treatments. So
Lenny, I know you probably don't even realize this, but you're 44 years old. God has told you, or the Holy Spirit, that you need to check your breast. Do you know how many doctors would have poo-pooed that? I mean, it's just a miracle, really, that you had the doctor who said, okay, let's hear what this woman has to say.
Right.
You're young. So many of our young survivors have been told, oh, well, it can't be anything.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And boy, if you'd said, I was told to find it here.
Right.
So I'm just really impressed with that level of caring and really listening to you. That's so important.
Yes, it is.
Every woman knows her body at
Right.
some point. We have some ideas. And when our intuition tells us something, we really need to pay attention.
That's true. It's true. Instead of just ignoring and just keeping, like, okay, this is okay. It's okay. Even if it turns out to be nothing, it's better. To me, it gives you a peace of mind to knowing, okay,
absolutely.
it's nothing, So I was thankful for the care that I received, and I continue to go to the same my physician. I continue. We have such a good relationship over the years, and I always heed her advice because I believe she's wise, and that she wouldn't steer me wrong. And she always insists that I go to Dr. Gaskell for my continuing, mammograms and ultrasounds.
So you're a groupie. You follow Dr. Gaskell here.
Yes, I follow good when you receive
were.
good service and good advice. It's wise to follow that.
Oh yeah, she was such a gift to us.
Yeah,
and it's very clear she doesn't want to work all the time.
right.
But we've had so many of her patients follow her here,
Right.
and
when
we're grateful for
when
that.
she closed her office, my doctor, Dr. Anderson, was the one that told me where she was because I said, I told her, I need to go for my mammogram, and I've heard, her office is closed, and she let me know that she was at the
here.
Rose, right,
Yeah.
and so I was like, okay,
And Dr. Gaskell is so humble.
yes, she is.
She never, I go up and I say, I had another one of your patients. Of course, she knows you were here. But she'd go, oh, well, yes, I remember. And she remembers them. And, and I think, but she never brags. It's so interesting. Great radiologist.
Yes.
Yes. Boy, I tell you, there is a little difference when all you do is mammograms.
Right.
You just have a different eye for it. So, well, we are delighted. Now, 2 of my employees came and said, this woman has such a different attitude. And you made a decision after your breast cancer diagnosis that it sounds like has been life-changing for you in many ways, where you said, and this has come from my employee now, maybe you didn't say it this way, but you said, I'm not going to do anything that doesn't nourish me.
Right.
I'm not going to do. Now, that's a phenomenal statement. How many times during the day are we doing things we don't really want to do, or, they're for somebody else, or after we do them, we go, oh, God, why did I do that again? But you made that decision. Now, how did you come about that?
Well, my husband and I, we're a believer of God and Yahweh and the Holy Spirit. So we really believe in having a positive attitude regardless of what you're going through. And that, you have to continue to fight, and also you want to grow and become better and become a better person, and to just to live a better life and to live a long, healthy life. And that's what we're always striving for, is just a long, healthy life. And I believe it's a journey. And I believe that the breast cancer diagnosis was just a step on the journey, where I'm learning more about how to take care of myself and how to take care of him, and to eat healthier, and to make sure we get our steps in every day and walk, and with the tennis and the the walking, and just eating healthier, and just really cherishing the body. These are temples that God gave us, and just to cherish this temple and take care of this temple, because we see so many people that are they're ill. They have terminal illnesses or diabetes or really serious health conditions, and they're taking medication that we believe that, and I strongly believe that, food and exercise and just a positive attitude that you can change.
That's your medicine. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so I just, and every day I just seek to learn more and to grow and become better, so I can, I live that long, healthy life that I believe that God has promised me that I can have. And it starts with me, and I have to make a decision. And so many people, I think, they use excuses why they're not healthy, or, they're not fit, or why they're ill. And it's a decision. Everything is a decision. And it's a right decision and a wrong decision. And, it starts with you. And just having a positive attitude and enjoying life, and life is an adventure, and it's a journey, and it's a step every day, and every moment of the day, and it starts with just good decision, wise decision, good decisions.
We had a physician on just recently who said, you've got to make small steps.
Yes.
When you're really wanting to become healthier, just do the small steps, and then the others will be easier. But you're so right. You really got to make up your mind.
Yes.
Yeah, to do that. Now, you're not working Right
No,
now.
I
You've
retired
retired
in June.
I don't want to hear it. You retired in June. Oh my gosh. But even when you were working, you were on that road of being better.
Oh, yes.
Treating yourself better. How do you do that in a work environment?
On my lunch break, I would go out and walk on my lunch break.
Uh-huh.
And so people would see some of the employees that didn't know me. Sometimes when we would run into each other or at a meeting or something, they said they didn't know me, but they would say, I saw you out walking. You're the person that I see out walking.
And it's hot out there, or it's, all of the reasons.
And when it would get too hot, I would actually walk in our parking garage. And I see other people doing this. I saw other people walking as well. So, and then also too, I believe in I'm whole food plant based, and so I do a lot of batch cooking and just a lot of eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and just healthy, like whole grains and so I don't like to eat out at restaurants because you don't know what you're getting in. A lot of that food has so much sodium in it, and my husband is really watching his sodium intake because about 10 years ago, he had an encounter where they said it was a slight stroke. So, but thank God he didn't have there's no lasting side effects. But the doctor said he didn't want to take high blood pressure medication. And he doesn't take any medication. And he's 75, he's 74 years old. And so he said, I don't want to take medication. And the doctor gave him a prescription of 5 milligrams of blood pressure medication. He refused to take it. He got it filled, but he never took a pill. And he said, we're getting enough exercise. We just need to control. And I was already on the journey to eating healthier. Right. But I didn't know anything about how much sodium is in processed foods. And when I was cooking, I was making foods that, using barbecue sauce, condiments and things like that. It had so much sodium in it, I didn't realize it. And that's when I really became a label reader. And even like canned vegetables, things like that. It just made me still on the journey to reading labels.
So does it say here's everything that's in this can? I mean,
yeah, it does.
I hear people talk about that all the time.
All the ingredients are there. And like I buy because of the convenience, and I buy a lot of canned vegetables, and I buy the vegetables that have no sodium free,
low,
right. So it makes a tremendous difference. Like foods like even ketchup, spaghetti sauce, all those. Some things I just don't buy anymore because it's more important. His health and my health is more important. Right. And I noticed too, I wasn't really overweight. I was at average weight, but I noticed once we started reducing our sodium, my weight went down as well. So you retain
that
a lot
would
of
encourage all of us to do that.
And so I and some products like baked goods and things like that, we just don't eat. If we want something sweet treat or whatever, we bake it ourselves. But I do have I have a huge my sweet tooth is just I love sweets.
Oh, well, that's good to hear.
I know. So when we go to a wedding or something like that, I might eat a piece of cake, but I'll take all the frosting off of it because it has so much fat in it, which is not. I don't want my arteries to be clogged.
No.
So and he'll do the same thing. So I'll eat a piece of cake or something like that. But I don't bring I'm learning now not to bring it home because I've gotten in the past I've brought all these sweets home and I'm like. But I still
they just
eat
call
it.
to you.
Yes, I know.
Yes,
so don't
they're
even
sitting
have
there in that closet and they're saying,
I know, in the refrigerator. Yes, I know. I'm like, if I don't bring it home, I won't want to eat them. So I just don't bring it home.
So go back to when you were in treatment. How important was support from others, not just in your family, but how important was that to you?
It was very important, and I felt like my support system, my strongest support system was my friends, my tennis friends, because I had 2 that had already been through this journey, and they had mastectomies, and they were just very encouraging and telling me not to do this, and also too, my husband's cousin, she's a breast cancer survivor, and she had a mastectomy. And she was telling me about some tips like don't overlift with the arm where your breast was removed because it might you might get lymphedema, and that's what she's dealing. She's still dealing with that. Like 20 years later, her arm swells up, and she said that's from overlifting. Things that are not too heavy. So it was just advice like that, and just always encouragement. With my tennis friends, and I think too, just seeing them, how they, how God had brought them through their healing journey, and how
Oh,
they were
yeah.
still doing things that they enjoyed. And my really good friend, who is like my sister, she teaches tennis. So she's out on the court, even out, after her healing, she's back out,
Doing
teaching
it.
tennis and doing what she loves to do.
Right.
So it's just, just people like that, just women like that, just encourages me and motivates me to be healthy and encourage other women too that are going through the process, and other people that have cancer too. My sister recently underwent, because she had cancer, but it was from the rectum and colon. And I was just, continually kind of encourage her. But unfortunately, she got a lot of side effects, which thankfully I didn't have any side effects. And so I was just, trying to encourage her and trying to make her aware of things like, as far as like hair loss, because some of us experience that. That, you just be prepared for that. Don't be, I think too, if you are prepared and be aware of these things that might happen, then they're not, I know it's going to be shocking when you go to that mirror,
Yes.
when it starts falling out, you won't be, as surprised and as so panically, because sometimes that's, being just not being aware of these things, and just, I think just encouragement and just continue to just love upon, on our sisters and brothers who are going through the treatment, going through cancer, because no one's journey is the same, and so just being a help and being a blessing to others is.
Well, and I think you bring up a really good point. Seeing someone who's been through it and seeing them as vivacious and healthy and active.
Yes.
That says a whole lot more than even the words.
Yes.
Sometimes. When the Rose started, we had several support groups, but this is so long ago, but I always remember there was a woman who came to the support groups who was 13 years out. Now, you got to remember this way back in the 80s.
Right.
And women just didn't live that long. And I mean, she was dating and she was beautiful and, but without exception, every other woman in that support group said, if Ola Mae could do it, I can do it. It was just that absolute seeing it and knowing that someone else is out there. You playing tennis, that is such a, not just even inspiration, but it's more than that. It's like, you can't play with me. I know how it feels, so you're going to have to come on. Right. Yeah.
I've been through a battle, and this is nothing compared to what I've gone to. But I believe also, too, when I was first diagnosed, I was in this state of, why me? Why me, Lord? I'm only 44. I'm healthy. I'm living right. I'm trying to take care of why me? But then I had to get beyond. He had to bring me beyond that point to say, Linda, look at it. You know other women who have gone through worse, and look how they're flourishing, and look how they're living their lives and they're enjoying life. So this is just a minor thing, and just
like a temporary setback.
Exactly. Do what you need to do and just move on and learn from this experience, because everything it's a learning. Everything is a learning experience, and to help you grow and get better, and to help you, live a better life. So it's about growth, and it's about learning and just doing better.
So how was your husband during that time?
Well, he was supportive, but he really didn't want me to have the radiation and the chemo. He really did. He thought, because the surgeon said, well, I've seen this before, and I don't think the radiation and the chemo is really necessary. And so my husband was but he's not one to. He's more into. He's not really one into medication and that type of thing.
I wondered if he had a little trouble with that.
Yeah, he did, but he still supported me at the same time. And he made sure that I got my rest, because during the chemo especially, I was okay the first couple of days, but by that fourth day, I was just exhausted. Yeah. So he made sure that, I got my rest, and that I needed to do what I needed to do. So.
And, sometimes it's so hard for the husbands who want to fix it.
Right, exactly.
And, it's a real learning for them, too. It's
true.
A whole different way of having to be in this world. So, yeah.
But he kept telling me that, he's really a man of God. And he was just telling me, he kept emphasizing, hey, God, this is just temporary. God's going to bring you through this, and you're going to be well, and just to hang in there and have the faith.
So when I think of playing tennis, I have no depth perception. So the one or two times I tried to play softball,
right,
my nose was broken. I mean, it's all these kind of things.
Oh my goodness!
No, I just couldn't see the ball.
Right.
But I just wondered, with someone who's such an avid tennis player, did you ever think of the comparisons between life and tennis?
Oh yes, I do, because and my friends and I, we discuss it all the time, how tennis is a training ground for life. And you want to get better. You want to persevere, and you have to be dedicated. And life throws you challenges, and there's ups and downs. And in a game of tennis, you win some, you lose some, but you don't just quit. Because I had those instances where I've been so, where I've lost a match and I felt it was my fault, and I just want to quit. And so, but you can't do that. I mean, you have to, get back on the court the next day or the next, 2 days, and that's how life is. You just can't quit. You have to want to get better. You want to prove, and you want to be the best and do the best that you can be. And so, that's what, and even in the ups and the downs, like the cold weather, because sometimes we are out in 45 degree, 50 degree weather, and, 100 degree weather, but, you still have to endure. And sometimes I think about, when I'm on the court, well, there's other people on the other side of the court that I'm playing. They're out here in this 100 degree weather. So I feel like, oh, well, they can do it. I can do it too. It's a challenge at the same time, but it's doing something you want to, you love to do. And that I enjoy a lot of times, most of the time just practicing, where it's my husband and myself, or a friend, and we're just out practicing, because I know that this is helping me to improve and get better. And you have to have so much focus, and you have to just endure, and you have to give it 100%. And that's the way life is. It's, I don't want to do anything like half-hearted. I want to put my whole, 100% into whatever I do. And so that's the way I feel. That's how I feel about tennis. That's how you get better. It's hard work, it's determination, but it's something that's worthwhile. And and also too, one of the things I love about tennis is just the personal aspect and the friendship aspect that you obtain, through the years of just, I love being able to meet new people, and the social aspect of it as well. And tennis players, we live about, researchers found we live about 10 years longer than non-tennis players. So
really,
that's an incentive.
Oh my gosh, that's incentive. Hey,
and we go to tournaments, especially the national tournaments. And there's men and women. They have 95, and they're 90 plus years old. Some of them are 95. And 98, that's just, so I love to go and talk to those players.
Amazing.
And to see, and they travel from other cities, and go, so they're traveling by themselves, or, with friends, and they're going to tennis and going to tournaments. And you see so many other people that are young, their age or younger. They're in nursing homes. They're walking on walkers. And here you see this person, these ladies and gentlemen. Here they are. They're out on the tennis court playing tennis. So it's so inspiring and motivating.
Yes.
I just loved it. And sometimes I'll go up and talk to them, like, how are you doing? Just to, just give me motivation. They're role models. And one of my really good friends, when I first started playing tennis at McGregor Park, when I moved to Houston, Miss Mack, she's probably about 20 years older than I am, but when you look at her, she looks so great, and that's the one of the, she really motivated me, because at that time I was so out of shape and I gained like 20 pounds, and I wasn't playing tennis anymore. But when I met her, and she's never ashamed to tell you her age, and she runs at Herman Park, and she's in her 80s now. I think she's about 86. She runs at Herman Park's like 4 or 5 days a week at that time, and then she goes to the gym and she lifts weights. So she's got all these muscles everywhere. And I'm like, wow. When I met her and I found out what she was doing at her age, and that really motivated me to get back on the court and start to eat healthy. Because at that point, I wasn't eating healthy. I was eating like taking frozen dinners for my lunch, and just wasn't taking care of myself at all, and wasn't being health conscious. And so once I met her, I was like, oh my goodness, Linda, you can do better than this. Look at her. This is your role model. And so still, I've been, ever since, that's been, I moved up here from Oklahoma in 1997. So that's been, I still tell her, you still motivate me. I still remember meeting you and how and still she continues to motivate me to be better and to know that even as I age, I can still improve and get better. And, it's not too hard if I have to have that desire and I have to make that decision to choose to love up on myself. And that's what it is. It's self-love. It's self-love and, because being the best you that you can be. And,
Wow. Linda, I can tell my staff wanted us to talk with you. You are a role model. You really are. And I love what you said about you just got to make that decision. But I love even more when you said you got to love on yourself.
Yes.
That's the best advice I have heard in a long, long time.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being with us today. And we so appreciate you making the trip. And I want to see you back in another 10 years and see what else you have done.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Dorothy. Thank you. I've enjoyed our conversation.
This has been good.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk About Your Breasts. This podcast is produced by Speak Podcasting and brought to you by The Rose. Visit therose.org to learn more about our organization. Subscribe to our podcast, share episodes with friends, and join the conversation on social media using hashtag Let's Talk About Your Breasts. We welcome your feedback and suggestions. Consider supporting The Rose. Your gift can make the difference to a person in need. And remember, self-care is not selfish. It's essential.